Turkana. Super
romantic.
Yeah.
I should go visit Turkana.
You should.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You're a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
You've actually done this at TEDx how many times? Once, twice?
Twice. I'm one of the few, by the grace of God, who have done it in English and in French.
Oh.
So it's like a goal that I wanted to achieve, and I'm grateful for God for it.
Right. But you just told me something I didn't know until now, that you actually live in Meru.
I do.
Yeah?
I do. Yeah, I'm married to
What are you
Meru.
doing in Meru?
My wife is Meru.
Yes.
And
we call them Merukans.
Merukans, yeah.
So your wife is Meru, right?
My wife is Meru.
Right.
We got married in, I think, about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And we had set a goal, because she's an entrepreneur, I was also an entrepreneur. And we wanted to serve God in ministry. And we had a business here that was growing. So we prayed, just to have a vision of what we wanted to achieve.
Right.
And so our goal over 5 years was to build and sell the business and then go into ministry. We achieved it in 3, right before the pandemic.
Okay.
So right before the pandemic, we had sold the business. Then we came to Meru on a sabbatical. Then we were stuck, because the country was locked down.
Right.
And we were supposed to go back to my country, to Guinea.
Yes.
Then we prayed again, if we're here, it means this is where you want us to be. And at that time, we realized that, people were ill, they were struggling, health-wise. So my wife had this vision of, garlic and using food to heal. So then we got involved in, that's now a ministry, a business ministry of healing through food.
And actually that's what a lot of nutritionists will tell you, that food actually should be our pharmacy. Our grocery stores should be our pharmacies.
Exactly.
And our gardens should be our pharmacies.
Definitely.
You walk in there, you'll find medicine, or rather a food or a herb that will treat cancer, diabetes, and whatever ailments you may be having, even from a cold to a headache. Everything, our gardens, our groceries are actually pharmacies.
Definitely. They say, let food be thy medicine, or medicine will be thy food.
Oh, that's actually in the Bible.
No, it's not in the Bible.
Oh,
it's from...
I was going to be like, which Bible do I read?
No, it's not. It's from, I think is it Pythagoras, or is it... It's one of the... Socrates. It's one of the...
one of these philosophers.
One of the philosophers, because they knew, they were also medicine... They were doctors, they were doing a lot of research.
Yes.
And they found that all the medicines you buy at the chemist, and you know this, right?
Yes,
the basis is from natural extracts.
Oh, yeah.
So if you, and actually I have a surprise for you later of one of those products.
Do you now?
Yeah, for men, for keeping us strong.
Stamina.
Yeah, keeping us strong. So we've seen a lot of people come with testimonials, sharing how, they've reduced how much they're spending on their medical bills, their bodies are feeling better.
Yeah.
And because we're not nutritionists ourselves, like this is not our background. I'm a coach, a leadership coach, an entrepreneurship trainer.
Right.
She was a designer when events and all. So it's more like you're guided by a spirit that guides you into an industry. Then you learn. But then you hire people who are actually specialists there.
In this particular industry.
And then together you work, in healing the community. So that has been very helpful.
Yeah. I mean, before we get into the whole innovation and entrepreneurship conversation, I know that for a fact because I used to weigh about 110 kilos, lost 27 kgs, and a lot of my problems disappeared with the loss of that weight.
Nice.
The acidity that I had, the frequent headaches that I had, the night sweats.
Yes.
And so I know, actually, food is medicine.
From toxins,
in a sense.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's a conversation probably Chico should have on health and wellness. But today we are here to talk about innovation and entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And it's funny you mentioned that you got into entrepreneurship with your wife and you decided that you will start this business, then sell it. People actually do that? People start businesses to sell?
Yeah, I actually, that's what I specialize in now. It's one of the things that I've, specialized in because of that experience.
Right.
But I often tell entrepreneurs that, businesses have different journeys, right? So you can start a business yourself, but then at some point you have no passion for that business, but it's a profitable business. So someone else can come, buy it from you, and run it from where it is, right? So as a running concern. Or you could be a professional, maybe you saved up some money over time, there's an industry that you're passionate about, and rather than going and starting from scratch, you can actually go and find a business that may be struggling, And then you bring your expertise, you acquire the assets, you acquire the team, you acquire the customers, and then you build it from there. So I think, and there have been a lot of mergers and acquisitions, even in Kenya, that have been very significant at the large scale. But even at the small scale, I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to buy back a clinic if they're, in the medical field, buy back a bakery if they're passionate about baking. I remember I was in Meru, I saw this bakery that I just walked in front and I knew this business was struggling.
Yes.
And I was like, if I was interested, or if I would have just said, okay, let me talk to the owners, find out. Yeah, buy it. And sometimes you can even buy it without necessarily having all the money to pay for it. Because if you negotiate with the seller and they have an agreement with you, you can take their assets, you take their books to the bank, then the bank finances the sale. So they get their first payment, and then now you run the business and you pay off the bank. So buying and selling businesses is actually an opportunity that anyone who, like yourself, like I was saying, like, if you've been doing all these interviews for so many years, you're a pro, right?
I would like to think so.
Well, you are, because subconsciously, the more we do something, the more we build the muscle memory.
Right.
And it's not just like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you lift, and then you see your... But if you're also doing a lot of advising and a lot of listening and a lot of learning on a particular topic, that particular topic becomes a muscle memory for you as well.
Right.
So if you have been a consultant in businesses, if you've been a trainer in business, if you've been someone who's been with entrepreneurs for many, many years, you understand a lot of patterns. And so taking that, you cannot just apply it in just interviewing or in just coaching or just consulting. You have to be selling a product or a service. And so if you make that your next stage, you can come and buy someone's business and then you run it better because you have all this knowledge and all these skills that you've acquired over the years from people who have actually succeeded. And then you surround yourself with a very good team, take care of your employees. And I always believe you put God there as your main investor. Right. Because then it makes it easier for things to grow and things to expand.
Well, again, going back to what you said, you started a business with your wife so that you could sell it, and you thought you were going to do it in 5, but you were fortunate enough to do it in 3. So I beg to ask the question, if the company was doing well, if the business was doing well, why would you sell it? Why not just hire someone to run it for you, then start something else?
Very good question. But I just need to clarify that we didn't start the business at that time. She had already started the business.
Okay.
But she, like most entrepreneurs who start, SMEs, they're very good at working in the business. They're not very good at working on the business. So she had a very good business in terms of products, but the business was not very profitable because she was selling the service to everybody.
Yeah.
I had run a business successfully in the past before, because before I came to Kenya, I had started my country's first agro-tourism retreat. Right?
Now this is in Guinea.
This was in Guinea now, right? So I had gained, my own experience, building something that had never been done.
What is agritourism for people who are probably hearing?
Agritourism is building a tourism activity on a farm. So where you have an agriculture activity where where you're selling like agricultural products. So we were producing pineapples, palm oil, bananas and things like that. But then I created a tourism activity where people could come for camping, they could come for retreats, they could come and live on the farm.
But the main attraction was the farm.
Was the farm.
Okay.
And these people were passionate about nature, about the environment, bird watching, nature walking, and hiking. We would even go hunting because I have a rifle there, and we'd take them into the mountains and go shoot birds and things like that. So that experience taught me really how to grow, because I had 100 employees at the time, right? And I was in my 20s.
100 employees.
And it was difficult because you're young, you have your own issues, then you have all these other people's issues to manage. It's crazy.
Okay.
But she's a very good operator. Like, she's very good at the details, like the crew you have here, like how do we need to put this and all that. But I'm very good at the bigger picture. And the thing is, if you have a vision and you look at yourself 10 years in the future and you don't see yourself in that business, then most likely that's not where you should be anymore, right? And so for an entrepreneur, exits have different forms as a business.
Right.
The exit could be you sell it. You sell off the shares to someone else who owns the business, who runs it fully. That could be an exit. The other exit could be a succession. So you prepare someone who's going to come and take over. And I think a lot of businesses in Kenya have that struggle where if you look at most of the very profitable businesses, the very good businesses in Kenya are about 20, 30 years old. And the people who started them when they really got off, they were in their 40s.
Yes.
So a lot of them are in their 70s now. But their children saw them struggling to build these businesses, and none of the children want to run the business.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to go through my dad, mom, or uncle for that matter went through.
Yes, but you're willing to take profit from the money that comes from it, right?
Why not?
So, yeah, exactly. So now these parents are at a stage where they want to retire. They're tired. They're physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired, psychologically tired, spiritually tired.
Yes.
Right? But they haven't prepared a succession either within the business or within their family to be able to help them cross over. So that's also a way of exiting a business. The other one is you get someone else to buy the majority of the shares in the business, and then you put a management structure, you put a board, that now the business is no longer a family business, it's a corporation. So these people that now are owning the business, they put a management system in place and they run the business.
Right.
So for us, and me in particular, I always wanted to own a portfolio of businesses, right? I never really saw myself as just working in one thing for 30 years, for 50 years. So I really saw this as an opportunity to say, okay, here's something that we have control over in terms of the decision making. My wife is the one who's like the CEO and the owner of the business. I'm her husband, but also her partner and her coach, because we have to be very specific. She understood the business better than I did. But what I helped her is to really let go and fire herself to say, okay, how do we run this business without you, right? How do we get to a place where the team can be able to operate better than you? So it means we had to train the team, we had to define who our customer was, be very, very clear who we're serving, start firing customers who were not within that particular space.
All right.
Changing our business model from B2C to B2B2C. To overcome competition, look at other innovative ways of how to grow the business so that it's attractive to whoever wants to now get into that space but doesn't want to do all the hard work.
And you see, the funny thing is, you mentioning the fact that you even figured how to get rid of some customers, someone would listen to you saying that and they're like, Chico is crazy. We need every customer, whether they are small customers or big customers. So what are the kind of customers you decided to get rid of?
So a customer that makes you lose money is not a good customer, right? And there are customers who make you lose money, right? There are customers who just, like in the events industry, there's this term called bridezillas, right? So it's the Godzilla bride, right? So she and her family, they have a budget for maybe 100 people, but they want to invite 1,000 people, right? So they have they're limited in what they want to spend, but they're expecting you as a service provider to deliver more than what they're willing to pay for.
Right.
And immediately that you agree to be to offer them the service, what happens is now you have to take within your own resources to satisfy them.
Actually, here we call them, they want what is it called, Kempinski kind of service on a Kibanda budget.
You got it. It can't work, right?
Yes,
if you're serving Kempinski, if you're a service provider to Kempinski, your quality standards are very high and your customer numbers are very low.
Right.
Because the type of Kempinski clients, what they expect is, it's premium, right? And then if you're serving the Kibanda, your customer base is very large. So their expectation also, why would you go out of your way to go and find organic tomatoes to serve to Kibandas when they're not going to be willing to recognize the quality of an organic tomato?
They just want to fill their bellies.
They just want a tomato. Yeah, give me a rotten tomato. I'll take as long as it's within my budget, right?
Right.
So that's the challenge. As an entrepreneur, you need to know who's your customer and be very specific about that customer and serve that customer very, very well. I think a lot of problems with entrepreneurs in Kenya, because Kenya is a very entrepreneurial culture. Everyone in Kenya is an entrepreneur. From the president to the guy in the street, everyone's an entrepreneur. But the mistake that a lot of them make is they want to make money from everywhere.
Right.
It's like going to a buffet and trying to eat every meal.
It's impossible.
You end up at the toilet with diarrhea.
Yeah.
You get me? So as an entrepreneur, you cannot serve everybody.
So you decide you're gonna stick to the continental food.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at our question of the day. So guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about innovation and entrepreneurship, and this is what we're asking. How has the current market inflation in the country affected your finances. What more are you doing to stay afloat? So how has the current market inflation in the country affected your finances? And what more are you doing to stay afloat? Yeah, are we heading to the Sri Lanka direction? Hope not. But anyway, there you go. Find us on social media at K24 TV across all socials, and of course right there on your screen is our WhatsApp number. Yes. Okay. So don't eat all the food at a buffet.
Yeah.
You know, stick to what you can digest, and also just try and not bust while at it.
Do your numbers. Look at your most profitable customers, right? Again, I'll take example on us, right? If you're in the personal business, so you're selling a service, like I'm a coach, right? And I'm also an entrepreneur.
Right.
But let's say as a coach, I'm selling myself as a service. How much does it cost me to show up to speak or to train or to coach an individual, right? Whoever is paying less than that, I'm paying out of my pocket to offer them the service, right? So you have to have a very good pricing. If you're selling a service, how much does it cost you to deliver that service? Are you making a 30%, 20%, 15% margin? If you're in the service industry and making 15% margin, you're losing money. Because then inflation itself, if it's at 10%,
will swallow everything.
Will swallow everything. So you have to know who you're serving and who loves your service. Like who wakes up every day happy to work with you. You want more of those people because then you're enjoying the work that you're doing.
But Kenyans sometimes will not understand that when you go to you know, a vendor or whoever business person, and then you negotiate, and because I see that a lot with women here in the country, you tell them this vase will cost you 1,000 bob, and they're like, I can only buy it for 100 shillings, and you're like, how do we move from 1,000?
Yeah, you're not my customer.
I mean, I would understand if you ask for 950 out of 1,000, or even 900. Maybe we can negotiate, but from 1,000,
you're not my customer.
100,
you're not my customer.
And if you tell them it's okay, I can't sell it to you, you know, they throw expletives at you. Yeah. And perhaps as Kenyans, sometimes we don't know the difference with that, because I'll be like, I'd rather sell it for that 100 and sell it than stay with it here for 10 years and it doesn't move.
Study the Indians. You know, study. I like to study failure and success, but study the Indians. Like, why is it that they build legacy businesses? They don't go at a loss, right? You better break even, but don't go at a loss. Yeah. You're not in business for fun. Business is not fun. It's hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Like, I have white hair all over, growing in all different places because of, you know, the stress of leading other people, solving problems, you know, coming up with new ideas. It's very hard. So you have to see a benefit for yourself, for your family, and for your future, right, out of this business. And it doesn't mean that you're going to take advantage of people. It means you're creating value for people.
Right.
So also expect that people out there willing to pay for that value. Because you and I also, we pay for what we want and what we desire, right? If you see something that you really like, and then you go and you buy it as an entrepreneur, ask yourself, how did this person get me to buy this? What strategy did they use? What marketing gimmicks or what tips what did they use?
Yeah, the problem with us is, when I say us, I mean like the Kenyans, majority of us.
And I'm also amongst you anyways.
Yeah, we put emotion into this business. Where, again, using this verse as an example, we're like, please buy it. Wash it. And you know, even the buyer is like, please sell it to me. My mom is sick. My dad is sick. They really need this vase. And you actually guilt trip the entrepreneur to selling it to you because your brother is sick or your mom is unwell.
It's like the pastors.
Please. Anyway, I want us to take a short break. When we return, probably look at some of your feedback. I know we just gave you the question right now, but if you have written on our socials, we'll definitely sample some of that. So don't go too far. We are talking about innovation and entrepreneurship.
Now, on the Money and Finance segment, Mbuvi will be discussing innovation and entrepreneurship with special guest Amadou Chico Cissoko, a TEDx speaker, inspirational writer, and a life coach. Next, be inspired with praise and worship gospel music with